Greetings in the name of Christ and welcome to the Spruce Pine United Methodist Church's online connection for Sunday, September 10th, 2023. We're so glad that you could join us. So, no one likes the hard times and the trials and the tribulations, but they are necessary because God uses those to develop our character. And today, as we continue in our B1 series of Bible Through the Year, we're going to be talking about how God uses our trials and tribulations. So, if you will, center yourselves and join us for worship. And may the peace of Christ be with you. Our scripture today comes from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 1 through 13a. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long are you going to grieve over Saul? I have rejected him as king over Israel. Fill your horn with oil and get going. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem because I have found my next king among his sons." "How can I do that?" Samuel asked. "When Saul hears of it, he'll kill me." "Take a heifer with you," the Lord replied, "and say, 'I have come to make a sacrifice to the Lord.' Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will make clear to you what you should do. You will anoint for me the person I point out to you." Samuel did what the Lord instructed. When he came to Bethlehem, the city elders came to meet him. They were shaking with fear. "Do you come in peace?" they asked. "Yes," Samuel answered. "I've come to make a sacrifice to the Lord. Now make yourselves holy, then come with me to the sacrifice." Samuel made Jesse and his sons holy and invited them to the sacrifice as well. When they arrived, Samuel looked at Eliab and thought, "That must be the Lord's anointed right in front." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Have no regard for his appearance or stature, because I haven't selected him." God doesn't look at things like humans do. Humans see only what is visible to the eyes, but the Lord sees into the heart. Next, Jesse called for Abinadab, who presented himself to Samuel, but he said, "The Lord hasn't chosen this one either." So Jesse presented Shammah, but Samuel said, "No, the Lord hasn't chosen this one." Jesse presented 7 of his sons to Samuel, but Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord hasn't picked any of these." Then Samuel asked Jesse, "Is that all of your boys?" "Oh, there is still the youngest one," Jesse answered, "but he's out keeping the sheep." "Send for him," Samuel told Jesse, "because we can't proceed until he gets here." So Jesse sent and brought him in. He was reddish brown, had beautiful eyes, and was good looking. The Lord said, "That's the one. Go anoint him." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him right there in front of his brothers. This is the word of God, a gift for all people. Thanks be to God.
As we continue with our Bible in 1 year journey, we're now in the time period where the people of Israel are transitioning from being ruled by local leaders, who are called judges, to monarchies, which are ruled by kings. Last week we read about Israel's desire to have a king. We were introduced to the prophet Samuel and how he led and encouraged the people of Israel to remain true to God and to remember who and whose they are. But as time progressed, the people of Israel wanted more. So they told Samuel, their leader, they wanted a king, like all the other nations around them have. For quite some time, I believed that the Israelites were simply comparing themselves against their neighbors, which to me seemed unnecessary. They're supposed to rely on God as their king and leader. And I thought if they were comparing themselves to others, maybe they saw themselves as smaller, less important, or not as powerful as other nations who have kings. In comparison, makes me think of Teddy Roosevelt's quote, that comparison is the thief of joy. And if they are comparing, I wonder if the people of Israel lost some joy because of shifting their focus off of God onto the people around them. But let's not forget their history and what they've been through that's gotten them to this point. And the cycles of behavior we read about in the book of Judges all come to a head here in Samuel. The ups and downs, victories and defeats, cry to God, get rescued, then forget about God and do their own thing. These cycles have taken a toll on the people of Israel. And for us, think about and think back to 2020 and 2021 during the height of COVID, when everything got disrupted. What was your life like? I mean, what kind of routines did you have before COVID? And how hectic and chaotic did things become during COVID? I mean, up and down and sideways and all over the place. No normal, new normal. This took a toll on a lot of people. Now, here in September of 2023, COVID seems like a thing of the past. And yet it doesn't, because it appears to be making another resurgence. But what I'm getting at is, how quickly did we forget the pain we felt during COVID? The separation, the disruption of what we got used to. And we cried out to God to rescue us, bring things back to normal. And now that things seem pretty normal again, do we still seek God as intensely as we did? Or are we now doing our own thing because we feel safe and normal again? And so thinking about how our lives got disrupted by COVID, when we read about the people of Israel wanting a king, maybe this wasn't about comparison. The other nations around us have a king, why don't we? See, having experienced the complete disruption caused by COVID, I wonder if what the people of Israel really wanted was stability, a sense of normalcy, routine, and familiar. Maybe that's what a king represented to them. And even though God was supposed to be their king and ruler, God gave in to their request to have a human king, and Saul became their first king. And for a while, the Israelites thought they had stability, normalcy, and routine once again because of King Saul. But over time, Saul's character flaws became his and the nation's downfall. Unfortunately, his ego gets the best of him, and he wants the power and glory for himself, and things get messy because of this. So then God offers a second chance, as God often does. But this second chance comes through the most unlikely of people. Samuel goes to see Jesse, who has 8 sons. And when Samuel sees Jesse's strong and good-looking sons, he probably feels a little reassured that God's got this under control. But after 7 of the boys come before Samuel, and God continues to say, "Nope, not this one," Samuel's stumped and asks Jesse if he has any more sons. I imagine this surprises Jesse because all of his older sons weren't chosen. Why would I need to get the youngest? He's tending the sheep. Surely it can't be him who God wants. So Jesse sends for David. And when he comes, God tells Samuel, he's the one. He'll be the next king. And so imagine the scene. David is young, probably a preteen. He's the youngest and smallest of 8 strong and powerful sons. And so here's David standing before everyone, and the old priest, the most revered person in the nation, takes some precious and valuable oil and pours it over this dirty little shepherd boy, the youngest of Jesse's sons, the one who had slept in a field the night before with the sheep. And he tells this boy, "You will be the next king of Israel." So if going by outward appearances, one would think we're doomed when comparing David to Saul's statures. But it's what on the inside that matters most to God. Character. That's what leads to good, fair, just, compassionate, forgiving, and humble conduct. Now, there's something else that we can't forget. The current king is still alive and healthy, and David isn't related to him. In fact, King Saul has sons of his own, and the oldest is in line to be the next king when his father dies. And in spite of all this, Samuel tells David that he will be Israel's king. So our focus text reveals a lot about people's character, and not just about David's. This also tells us a lot about Samuel's character too. Did you notice Samuel's hesitation when God commissioned him for this mission? He reveals his concern to God by stating that Saul is alive, and when he hears about what I've done, he'll kill me. But I don't think this retort is simply about Samuel fearing for his life. I think Samuel's reminding God that he's been loyal to Saul all along. Samuel was the one who anointed Saul to be the king. And what God is now asking Samuel to do seems like breaking his loyalty, his covenant with Saul. And this requires great faith and trust to do what God is asking of Samuel. It is a test of character. So David is chosen by God because of his character. He's often referred to as a man after God's own heart. And this is not to say that David is perfect. Far from it. If you're not already aware of some of his character flaws, we will soon be reading of David's indiscretions, one particularly big one that has devastating consequences for many people, especially David's family. But when it comes to the tests, plural, of David's character, what we see is that David comes back to God, and not in a flippant way or so that it can be beneficial for him. David trusts God, no matter the circumstance, even when he messes up badly. And what we read this week are numerous tests of character and comparisons of character between David and Saul. We repeatedly see how Saul becomes jealous of David, which leads to fear, which leads to anger. And in various states of anger, Saul's character flaws are revealed. He pursues the path of vengeance and violence instead of seeking peace. We also see that while being pursued by Saul and fearing for his life, David takes the high road. He doesn't take advantage of Saul's vulnerability, and twice he spares Saul's life, even when presented with the notion of wiping out his enemy. David says, "How can I come against God's anointed one?" Again, it's not that David is perfect, but David consistently keeps his sights on God. He puts his confidence and trust in God even during the worst of times. And that's a real test of character. And David shows us that we can trust God with our whole selves, no matter what it is we face. And all of us face tests of our character, the moments when our real selves are revealed. Now, usually these moments are during the challenges we face. And it's often said that during difficult times, a person's true character is revealed, and also that character is what we do when no one but God is looking at us. Helen Keller once noted that our character isn't developed through comfortable or easy times. She says that only through trials are our souls strengthened. And this week, we read about challenges, trials, and struggles, and we saw the different directions our character development can take us. And very importantly, what we're showed through these stories is that we have the power to choose what paths we'll take. And all throughout God's story, we're reminded that the path of God's character is not always the easy path. We see that the path of God's character often has us encountering bullies, not avoiding them. It has us extending peace to those considered our enemies, instead of repaying evil for evil. It has us being peacemakers who stand up for what is right and take a few hits, not merely being peacekeepers who oftentimes work at maintaining the status quo. And the path of God's character will have us be wise as serpents and gentle as doves, where we understand how the world operates, but we don't follow the paths of greed, dominance, and individualism. The path of God's character will lead us to trust the state of interdependence God has created us to live in. The path of God's character will show us how to turn the other cheek, see the log in our own eye, and do justice, embrace faithful love, and walk humbly with God. The path of God's character will help us remember who and whose we are, that God is God and we aren't, that we're partners with God, that we help create and recreate. God intends for us to be part of the answers to the prayers people are praying. But like the stories we've read so far in the Bible, we too forget that we're not alone. And we really are part of something bigger than ourselves. And we try to take matters into our own hands, and we try to define good and evil on our own. But as we've seen over and over, God offers second chance after second chance to get things right. And these second chances we're offered usually come in the form of tests in character, the challenges, difficulties, and moments of transition. And remember, we grow as a result of conflict and struggle. Our character is developed throughout this lifelong process of sanctification, where we grow deeper in our relationship with God. God doesn't look at things the way we humans do. We often look at the outside. God looks at the heart and knows what we have inside of us, knows what we're capable of. And we've read this in God's story thus far. We see how God believes in us, how God pushes us to be better and live into the better story God has for us. We see how God covenants with us and desires that we covenant with each other and with God. And the test of our character throughout our lives is about the paths we'll choose. And though we might not always get things right, God still believes in us and always offers another chance to walk in the path of God's character. Thanks be to God. Amen. Thank you for connecting with us here at Spruce Pine United Methodist Church on our online connection. We hope you got a real blessing from being with us today. Now, if you have a need, please reach out to the church. There's many ways you can reach us, whether it's in person or by phone, email, or social media, and we'd be glad to help you in whatever ways that we can. And for those who are regular supporters and are partners with us in our mission and ministry throughout the community and the church, we thank you because we are a team. We are interdependent upon each other. And so we have 4 ways in which you can financially support the mission and ministry of the church. The first is here in person at our 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock services on Sundays. The second is you can mail your contribution to the church, and that address is 11090 Highway 226 South in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, 28777. If you live locally and you want to drop your donation off, you can stop by the church office during normal office hours, which are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2. And if you want to do it online, you can just go to our website, which is sprucepineumc.org, then click on the Give and the Donate Now buttons and make sure you're signed into your account. And it is a quick, easy, safe, and secure website. So we have been talking about the character tests that we have. And they usually do come through the times of struggle and the difficulties and times of transition. And we all transition throughout our lives at various times and ways. And so I think our challenge this week is to find out where our character needs to be developed. What are some of the areas we could work on? What challenges do we face? And what comes up? What arises during those times? And how will we lean in and trust God in these moments of trials and struggles? So don't forget that our weekly announcements are coming up right after this. So we hope you have a really good week. Be blessings in the world. Help create and recreate God's story. Help be a part of blessing all the families of the earth. And we hope that you will come back next time, and we'll see you next week on our online connection. Have a great week.